All right, they've been waiting for a good while. Let's see if we can take a phone call. Hello, I think you're on the air.
Oh.
Go ahead, please.
I'm on the air?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't really want to be on the air. I just wanted to say, that I don't think we should be ruining what few parks. Houston doesn't really have enough parks for as big as it is. And then to be running oil wells through it, it doesn't seem right.
Okay, Mr.
I don't think they would make that much money, and even if they did, probably it wouldn't go into other parks. And why ruin what you've got to get something else? And besides that, won't they have a problem with sinking soil? Aren't we having problems already in Houston with the sinking?
Mr. Calhoun, could you speak to that question?
Yes, I certainly can. I certainly agree with this lady. We shouldn't ruin any parks, and that's the proposition here, that we not ruin any parks. This lease has so many environmental safeguards built into it that if I thought there was any chance of ruining this park, I wouldn't be as interested in this project as I am. As far as subsidence is concerned, there is no danger here, according to the geologists. There has been oil and gas production north of Memorial Park across Katy Freeway for about 40 years in an area called the Eureka Field. There has been no subsidence there. The geology indicates in this area that there is no danger from oil and gas production of subsidence, so we rule that out. We don't think there's any possibility that could happen.
What about the smell from oil wells? I suppose you can guarantee against that too?
Yes, ma'am, we really can. The wells that might be discovered or might be drilled and producing in the park would be completed in such a manner that there would be no smell. The smell comes from something that's escaping or is running out on the ground. And you don't have to complete an oil well that way, and you don't have to produce one. And certainly that's not the plan here. And around the city...
I think if you have a meeting in this city where people can show up and speak their opinions, I don't think you're going to have too many people that are keen on having this in the park.
Well, I guess we'll see that at the public meeting.
When is the public meeting going to be?
City Council is setting that, is that correct?
That's correct.
They will set open hearings.
Well, I hope they don't set it on a Sunday in the middle of Nova Scotia or something.
Well, we hope not. Thanks for your call, ma'am.
Well, all right, thank you.
Bye-bye. 527-4088, 4098, 4050 are our numbers. Give us a call if you're interested in expressing any viewpoint on any direction with regard to this or have any questions for these gentlemen. Mr. Covington.
From what I understand, the lease provides that there's only 12 acres to be used for drilling sites. It's my impression, however, that the actual space which would be taken by the time you set up a tank battery, depending upon the success of the wells naturally, and the pipelines and so forth, that by the time you got through that there would be quite a few acres more than 12 acres. And I was just wondering if there had been any studies or anything given as far as the number of acres that would be available, Frank.
Earl, let me respond to that. The lease calls for a maximum of 6 drilling sites to be selected by the oil operator with the concurrence of the Parks Board. The first drilling site has been indicated. It's certainly not set. It's going to have to be determined by the Parks Board that the first drilling site is the proper place. Each drilling site can cover a maximum of 2 acres each. Now, it doesn't take 2 acres to produce an oil or gas well, so the drilling sites of 2 acres will be reduced substantially at the time that production is obtained. It's anticipated that there will be no tank batteries at a production site, that all oil and or salt water will be collected at one central point with a tank battery there, and then can be removed from the park from that one point. So you're not going to have a tank battery at each well site. In the event of gas production, it will be quite a bit easier, and incidentally it's anticipated that if anything is found here, it will be gas. In the event of gas production, there is an existing 12-inch high-pressure gas line through the park at this time. That is a built-in gathering system for gas. So if gas is found, this gathering system can be utilized, and there will have to be a minimum amount of pipe laid to hook into it.
Mr. Dahead.
responding to an earlier comment of Frank's and the lady that was on the telephone just a moment ago. Mr. Calhoun refers to a number of park areas that have oil production in them. Padre Island, Werner Hogg, Aransas National Wildlife, Brazoria National Wildlife. These parks are not urban parks. We're speaking here about a park that is heavily used by a city that is drastically short of parks already. An urban park environment that has a small amount, fortunately, some amount of timber, natural timber left in the park. The impact of wells, whether they be oil wells or gas wells, whether they be a 2-acre site that is reduced and surrounded by a chain link fence and piped off to a tank battery that is painted green somewhere in the woods, is not really the point at issue. It's the point of continuing to use our public domain as in non-conforming industrial uses. Now, the drilling of a well itself may take a 2-acre site, but admittedly, trucks must go into this site. After the well is drilled, if there is production, then pipelines must go out of this area. We have had a discussion with Mr. Calhoun previously regarding casing head gas and what would be done with that, and I understand that would be trucked off or carried off. There is no burning allowed on casing head gas, and we've been assured that this would not be one of those special cases where burning would be a non-conforming approved use. Therefore, there's another requirement of traffic to tank and haul off casing head gas. In the ecological statement, there are various references to the fact that certain safeguards will be established and that the mutual consent of the governing agencies will determine what can or cannot be done. Insofar as site size is concerned and site location, the report indicates that it will be selected in consultation with the City Parks Department. Regarding roads, they will be located in mutually agreed upon areas by the Park Department and the lessee. Insofar as pipeline and gathering systems, in a location satisfactory to the Parks Department. I believe the public has a certain skepticism about the system. Whether or not the controls that are established become mouth honor, so to speak, and immediately forgotten when this thing goes into production. Furthermore, I commented earlier regarding a precedent and under benefits, as stated in this ecological survey. A very succinct point, a very positive point is made of this being used as a stepping stone. I'm misusing words. This being an example for the possible future development of similar natural resources in other areas of the city, both public and private.